Hi friends, welcome back with a new amazing video from Movie Insight. Today I'm going to recap a 2020 horror and thriller film titled The Host. Spoiler warning, watch out and take care. Jack is the protagonist of the film. He's returning home. He runs into Michael, his next door neighbor, on the way. Michael invites him to his place for Christmas dinner almost as soon as he sees him. At the moment, it's possible to see Jack home with his wife Lucy. He has no one in the world though for Lucy. Lucy and Jack are completely devoted to each other. While they're presenting each other for Christmas, Lucy casts a glance out the window at the strange light. When Lucy sees that strange light, she's afraid. Jack doesn't trust her when she tells him about the light. When Jack notices Lucy's anguish, he decides to assist her. He takes a step outdoors to check out the lights. He also has a knife with him for protection. He's on the lookout for the lights Lucy mentioned when she told him about the house. On the other side, he doesn't see anything. Lucy is nowhere to be found when he arrives home. He hears terrible noises emanating from his chamber while he searches for Lucy. Concerned, Jack retires to his upstairs chamber. While standing outside the chamber, Jack feels it emitting lights as he moves inside while opening the entrance. He's angry because Lucy is shivering on the bed and some radiations are discharged from her mouth. There's a shot of Jack's next-door neighbor Michael's house at that point. Michael's family is also in the kitchen, celebrating Christmas Eve with him. Michael's family consists of his wife, a daughter, and 2 children. After hearing the doorbell ring, Michael dashes to the front door. Jack and Lucy are on their way to Michael's house, but they aren't too excited about it. They don't look like they came here to see what's going on. Their faces are both loaded with a puzzled expression. Now that the story has become tense, Lucy flips Christ's portrait frame over. It's also possible to see the glitter in Lucy's eyes. Jack and Lucy have been possessed, according to the text. Lucy now heads to the kitchen where Michael's wife hands her a knife to chop the onion with. In this scenario, Lucy is acting suspiciously. She's cutting the onion for the first time as if she's never done it before. When Michael's wife sees it, she's taken aback but doesn't blame Lucy. On the other side, Michael is seen escorting Jack to his home cellar. Michael casts a halo around the television his father got him. He's currently handing this television to his girlfriend. It's a valuable television that once belonged to his forefathers. Lucy appears at that point, but she continues to act suspiciously. She secretly removes 1 pound from the toolbox. The Christmas supper festivities have begun. Michael's whole family is overjoyed. However, Jack and Lucy are placed in this manner, as though seated forcibly. They're not speaking with one another and they're not pleasing the dinner guests. Then Michael's wife is diagnosed with cancer, which comes as a complete surprise to everyone. Her medical results appear to be satisfactory. She's currently wearing a patch. In the meantime, Jack has swept the area clean. Lucy then rises to her feet and slams the pound into Michael's spouse's head, smashing her. This is a horrifying scene. Everyone in the audience was stunned. Lucy's face expression shifts for the first time and she begins to smile. Jack appears, brandishing the weapon at that point. Jack is acting in the same way as Lucy is. He tastes the blood by touching his finger to it. He now turns his attention to Lauren, Michael's daughter. She appeared bewildered. Through the mistakes of her forefathers, Jack informs Lauren. We're now working through the ramifications. Jack gets a whiff of the blood that has been splattered all over Lauren. He also walks away, dragging Michael's wife's body behind him. Lucy then grabs a gun off the shelf and races everyone to their feet while pointing the firearm. She enters a room with Michael and his younger kid and closes the door behind them. When Michael's older son Eric sees it, he shouts. Lucy kills him in the head with a gun as a result of this. She then examines his mouth in an unusual manner before locking him in the room. Michael's youngest son's room is where Lucy is. The child wonders why his mother was slain. According to Lucy, she was already dead. As a result, it's meaningless to argue about it. That youngster's story, she relates, is unusual. She believes she had a father a long time ago. One day, he invited the visitors to his home. When they were in difficulties, that father was extremely self-centered. Therefore, he chose to save himself, and he put the guests in the most inconvenient situation conceivable. Those guests had been waiting for this moment for a long time, and it has finally arrived, and they may be about to put that family to death. In the kids' room, Lucy discovers pliers. With her 2 teeth, she also pulls it out. Because the story is not told in the film, if Lucy tells the kid a story, it's not about Michael or his elders. Lauren's room is now the focal point of the action, where she's terrified and sleeping. Lauren immediately thinks of her male friend and picks up the phone to call him. She also recounts the entire story. Her male companion doesn't believe her at first and tells her to go right away. Jack may be seen lurking beneath the bed, listening in on the conversation. When Jack hears it, he becomes outraged. He also has a very loud noise. Lauren is knocked out by the scream. Lauren hears her older brother's voice as she regains consciousness. She rushes over to Eric, her attention drawn to his voice. She looks for her brother on the top floors of her house. However, when she walks there, she notices something. In the room, there is a television. Lucy and Jack both have the same brightness in their eyes. Lauren is completely unaware that Lucy is approaching from behind. Lauren is knocked out for the second time. Lauren is sitting in the chair, recovering her composure. Her brother Eric is knocked out before her. She grows frightened as she concentrates her sight on Jack. Jack is holding a gun, which he delivers to Lauren and says, "You may use this gun to kill your brother. We'll murder him if you don't do this, and if we do, it'll be a painful death." The most horrible aspect is that Lucy is spitting on Lauren and acting inappropriately. Lauren mulls it over before aiming the rifle at her brother. Eric regains his calm at this point and forbids her. "Please don't assassinate me." Lauren fires her weapon despite the fact that it's unacceptable for you to kill me and for them to kill me. Eric's faith in his sister is shaken and he develops a hate for her. When Eric comes out of his father's chamber and down the stairs after being let free, he runs downstairs. There's a strange story told there. Michael informs Eric that Jack is the son of the lady on whose ancestry he did not bestow. Perhaps Jack is seeking retribution against him. Lauren and Eric are dragged into the cellar by Jack and Lucy. The TV that's emitting the light is the same as the one that's emitting the light. Jack and Eric have both charmed Eric. As he becomes charmed, Lucy spits blood in his face and begins to scrape it awkwardly. Meanwhile, Jack believes Lauren has escaped and the same thing occurs. Lauren is looking for a place to hide in order to flee. The scene's focus moves to Michael. Someone hands Michael her room key from below the door. He goes out in search of Lauren after unlocking his chamber door. He does, however, hear some unusual noises. As he enters the room, he pulls the curtain back. Out the window, he notices a slew of bewitched people who believes are possessed by the same evil spirit that possessed Lucy and Jack. Michael runs into his son Eric as he exits the room. His eyes are covered by a blood-stained bandage. Michael is afraid by what he sees. Lauren, who's being hunted by the bewitched people, has reappeared on the scene. Through Michael's window, who had he seen? Once again, Michael and Eric may be seen. Who's the intruder in the cellar? Eric's eyes remain steady as Michael removes his bandage. His eyes, on the other hand, are emitting the same light as Lucy's. Because his son is also charmed, Michael makes smart guesses. To possess his father, Eric takes him in front of the television before taking any action. Michael begins to scream. Lauren hears his father's words and thinks to herself. She finds her courage and bolts, breaking the main electric switch in the process. As a result, the light is switched off and Michael is no longer affected by the spell. He suffocates his son, and as a result of this, the monster flies from his mouth. It means the beast has escaped from his body. On the other hand, Michael refuses to let Eric go and kills him. Lauren then reappears only to be arrested by Lucy and that deranged man. She runs back to the jungle to hide when he sees Lucy. Hibernating in the woods, however, is pointless since Lucy tracks her down. She then begins to strike her, shoving her to the ground. Lauren is given a rope as the movie comes to a close. Lauren puts a rope around Lucy's neck and suspends her from a tree branch. As Lucy's breathing gets shallow, she begs you to leave her alone. Lauren, on the other hand, puts an end to her. Michael has reappeared on the scene, who enters his younger son's room with a knife in his hand. He collides with Jack, who fires his weapon at him. He not only stabs him with his knife, but he also snatches it from Michael's fingers. Michael's life is shortened as a result. Lauren appears in the meanwhile and fires her weapon to Jack. As a result of Jack's death, she goes outside with her brother in the hopes that they would both survive. She begins to notice monsters and lights all around her, however. It alludes to the idea that they too shall die. Her brother's eyes shine with the same brilliance as hers, and the film comes to a thrilling conclusion. As a result, the film's plot finishes with this enigma. Based on this theory, it's possible to deduce that some demonic spirit has attacked the Earth. Which of you wants to get together and begin your enchantment with Jack and Lucy? Only those who had been healed were wanted. Thus, Michael's wife was killed. It's likely that Michael and his elders made a mistake. As a result, people are suffering from a variety of undesirable repercussions. It has a connection to it because it was seen in the film as Lucy recounting a story in television plays a significant role in the plot. We hope you enjoyed our video from today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to receive notifications of new and interesting videos.